Now we know that data is nothing but raw facts and figures. Information is the result of data processing. Now what is meant by data processing? Data processing refers to the different activities and operations that carried out over data to generate information. See, for data processing, different stages are there. It is also a cycle. Data processing has 6 stages or 6 levels. They are capturing data, input data, storage of data, process of data, output of information, and distribution of information. See, first of all, we have to collect the data from the user. That may be with the help of different application forms. But nowadays, we are using direct method by which we are giving data to the computer with the help of different types of online softwares and offline softwares. Next stage is nothing but input of data. Collected data should be given to the computer with the help of different types of input devices. Thereafter, if the volume of data is very huge, or if you are going to enter the data within the interval of time, that data should be stored in storage devices. Then the next stage is nothing but processing the data. So after processing the data, sometimes we will store the result in storage devices too. Next stage is nothing but output of information. We know it well, after processing the data, we will get information. And the last stage is nothing but the information should be distributed to the public, especially for the beneficiaries. So all these things are nothing but the different levels of data processing. In this particular class, we will discuss about different levels of data processing. What was meant by data processing? It refers to different operations and different activities performed on data to generate information. We can perform different operations just like calculation, comparison, sorting, filtration, summarization, interpretation, etc. for processing the data. So however, after processing the data, we will get information. I mean, the result of data processing is nothing but information. See, look at the figure. See, data is applied for processing and information is obtained after performing the process. Here we can see different types of data we can give for performing the process, and the output of process is nothing but information. That is, data is the input to the process and information is nothing but the output from the process. So we can think, how can we give data to perform process by the computer? What are the different methods by which we can give data to the computer to perform the process, as well as what are the different methods by which we can take the information after processing? Means, how can we give information to the public after performing the process? So in coming lessons we will discuss elaborately about all these things. There are different stages in data processing. The first stage is nothing but capturing the data. We have to collect the data from the user to perform the process. So for that we can use different application forms in hard copy, and such type of forms are known as source document. Next stage is nothing but input of data. After collecting all these data, we have to give these data to the computer for performing the process. To give the data to the computer, we can use different input devices like barcode reader, keyboard, QR code reader, biometric sensors, etc. Next stage is nothing but storage of data. I mean, here If the data collected are in huge volume, that should be stored somewhere in storage device. Later it can be processed. See, sometimes whenever we are collecting the data, that process will be continuing for few days. At that time, we have to store the collected data in storage devices. Later, it can be processed. Next stage is nothing but processing of data. After collecting all the data and stored somewhere in different storage devices, we can process the data with the help of different types of operations. They are sorting, calculations, etc. And its result can also be stored in storage devices. After performing all the process, the result can also be stored in storage devices. Next stage is nothing but output of the result. Means after processing the data, we will get information, and that information should be given to the beneficiaries. Next stage is nothing but distribution of information. So, however, we have to give the information to the public, I mean here for the beneficiaries. That may be in different format. Sometimes that may be in printed format or soft copy, or sometimes that may be an audio, sometimes that may be a video. So however, in data processing, 6 stages are there, and sometimes the processed information may be a data for some other process. So that is why data processing is nothing but a cycle. Capturing the data. Data must be recorded or captured in some form before they can be processed. Usually in a hard copy which has a proper order and format, that document is known as source document. If you are going to take the example of single window admission system, few years back students got an application form to enter their personal details as well as their grade details that are the relevant data to be given for the admission process. But now the situation is changed. Students can enter the data directly using the online software. Okay, however, such type of properly designed application form to collect data are known as source document. The activity to collect such data as well as designing such type of proper designed application form is nothing but the first stage of data processing, that is capturing the data. So however, data will be collected with the help of a proper form, and that data should be relevant for processing the data. Next stage of data processing is input of data. See, usually data is collected from the user with the help of a properly designed application form. So that application form is known as source document. Here we have to collect relevant data, and after collecting the data with the help of application forms, that should be given to the computer for processing. So usually they may be entered using keyboards or any other input devices that accept the data in a paperless form to the machine readable form. So however, we have to give the data for computer for processing. So feeding data to the computer for processing is known as input. Next stage of data processing is storage of data. If the amount of data given to the computer will be large, then the input at different times should be stored in storage devices. See, always the amount of data may not be very less in size. For example, as far as single window admission process is concerned, students will enter the data in different times, and moreover, lakhs of students are applying for getting admission in higher secondary education. At that time, huge amount of data will be stored in storage devices. The processing will be start only after completing data entry. Sometimes the information obtained as the result of processing is also stored in the computer. This information will be used in future for various purposes. Next stage of data processing is nothing but data process itself. See, different types of operations like calculations, classifications, comparison, sorting, filtering, interpretation, summarization, etc. can be used for processing the data. If you are going to consider the admission process for higher secondary education, that is single window admission process, we have to go through different types of operations, different type of process. For example, we have to interpret the value of different grades like A plus, A, etc. as 9, 8. To calculate a WGPA, we have to perform different mathematical operations, and to get a category wise list of students who got admission in different schools, we have to classify the data, and to prepare rank list for each school, we have to sort the data. So however, to perform process upon the data, we have to perform different operations. The next stage is output of information. Means we will get the result after performing different operations upon the data. The information obtained after processing will be available in this particular stage. This stage should provide the information in such a form that the beneficiary should be able to take decision or solve the problems. As far as our single window admission process is concerned, in this particular stage, students are getting allotment slip and allotment list for the schools for the admission. The information obtained in the output stage should be distributed to the public, to the beneficiaries. They will take the decision or they can solve the problems according to the information. So the result should be given to the beneficiaries. The stage is nothing but distribution of information. So here, after all this process and final result will be published for the public and beneficiaries.